Naval Ravikant talks about four forms of leverage: code, media, capital, and labor. In the modern Renaissance, you have these two main forms of leverage, which almost give you unlimited forms of leverage, which is code and media. Media is simple. This is what I'm doing right now: record it, write it, and distribute it. That's what media is. But then code is something which has unlimited leverage. All you really have to do is write the code and then just distribute that product, and it has unlimited scalability, like virtually unlimited scalability. You can take examples of these big tech companies, like Mark Zuckerberg wrote the code for Facebook, and then he scaled it to such an extent. And not just to take an example about the big tech folks, but also you can simply, as a micro SaaS founder, you can simply write code, build your product, and then distribute it. But here's the thing: as a non-coder, I was really good with media. As you can see, I'm really good with the camera, really good with media. But the problem I always faced was coding. Coding was a very, very difficult thing for me. And I just couldn't really wrap my head around it, like what really code was. So you can see this, all of this was like gibberish to me. Like, what does it even mean? What's VS Code? What is all of this? This was completely gibberish for me. I had no idea what code was. But with LLMs, you can crack this. Anybody can code. Trust me, I've seen a lot of these videos where people on video, they try to build these applications, but most of it is just front-end applications. Front-end, creating front-end is very easy. All you need is a React library, and just find you a little bit, find you those buttons, or whatever you just call it. It's super simple, or HTML. It's very easy to make UI. But the backend is something very difficult. You're going to run into a lot of bugs. And I'm actually facing this with my own product that I'm currently building, which is Zavata.ai, which is an AI interviewer that schedules and automates hiring process with an AI interviewer. That's what I'm currently building. And I'm currently building that by myself completely just with code. And if I'm building a product, it can't just be the front end, right? It also has to have a really strong backend and all of that. So completely starting from scratch, what do you do? First thing is you prompt ChatGPT. You ask ChatGPT. But after watching this video, you basically just know what VS Code is. VS Code is basically where you write your own code and then you push it to GitHub. And trust me, it's very intimidating. Like, what is pushing to GitHub? What is GitHub? You just ask, man. That's it. You just ask ChatGPT, right? But that's one trick that I'm just giving out. There's also another trick that I'd really love to give out to you guys is, which do you use? Do you really use Claude, ChatGPT, or this new application called Pieces? Pieces is actually a great application where you can just put in your folder, your hard-coded folder, because you'll run into a lot of issues. Switch on live context, and then even files. If you have any documentations that you can just ask. But again, Pieces is great, but it just loses context. The problem with modern LLMs, with the LLMs in 2024, is they lose context. They forget what they are talking about. After 5 to 6 chats, GPT forgets what it's talking about. It hallucinates. Hallucinating in text is different, and hallucinating as code is different, because when it comes to the 6th or 7th iteration of the code, it forgets, it omits, or changes a line of code. And changing the line of code means it changes the whole backend. Or backend, you can't see. That's the problem. Frontend you can see, and it's easy to spot. For that, I have this one sentence that I just use, which is basically, this is the sentence that I use, right? So retain existing code changes and fixes, incorporate new fixes or changes on top of existing code. For every new iteration, ensure that previously applied changes are not lost and are considered as the base for new fixes, and ensuring previous bug fixes are retained and new fixes do not introduce any old issues. So this is the standard code that I use. You can make a version of yourself, version of this for yourself, but I think this is what works the best for me. So now I'm just going to give you one trick of starting off with coding if you don't know any kind of documentation, right? So let's say you're building an app using Azure OpenAI. So this is the documentation, right? So always go find the latest official documentation of whatever you're building, right? So this is going to be this, right? This is the documentation. But now I've actually created this whole script by myself. This is my whole script. Would I just go and replace this link and just, it's actually the same link. Yeah. So I just put the link and I just say node extract this. Even this, I had no idea what this was. I just type it in so easy because it was already there. But you can really, I mean, if you are a coder, you might know, but or if you just start into code, you might know what these commands are. But it's just so simple. Just type in node extract links, and it's going to extract all these links and into txt files. That's specifically what you need. You need them all in txt files. I'll tell you what you can do with txt files. I think it's going to extract. All right, it's actually done extracting. It says 10 separate files because I mean, it's supposed to say that. I think somewhere in the command, yes, it says 10 separate. It's actually just 2 files. I said 10 because if all of that is in just one txt file, OpenAI, like ChatGPT, really can't digest that much. And the problem with Claude is it really can't take so much of context, right? So let me just remove this. Let me remove this and yes, get back to my operation laboratory and then web scraper. Yes, these are the files, right? These are other files which were extracted. I just moved them so they don't appear. This is the thing. And now all you have to do is just go to Claude, create project, a new project. I think I just created a test project. Yes, test project. And then just add knowledge base. Yeah, I already did this. I actually forgot recording, so I'm just recording this again. So just add content, just click on both, open, and this becomes your context. And now, as you can see, both of these files, they take in around 87% of the knowledge I used. I think that's one disadvantage here again with Claude. There's so many applications, they have their own pros and cons, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get to this time where a single application can have a lot of context, can understand context, can take in a lot of project knowledge. It's specifically designed for you. I think that time's also coming, maybe sometime in 2025. But yeah, I think this is what I use. This is my workflow, if you can call that. It's my coding workflow, and it's so easy. So remember, always when you're starting to code, you always say, "Hey, ChatGPT, I am a non-coder. Help me code a web scraper in Node.js. Give me file structure first clearly," right? So you got to ask the file structure. File structure is the most important thing. All right, so as you can see, this is a web scraper. So just create your application. And this was me starting from scratch. So now you can just go do the same thing, right? Just create these files. So when it says a slash, it's a file. So remember, right? So data is a separate file, scripts is a separate file, and inside scripts, there's this, and also you can read all of these annotation, directory for your scraping scripts, all of this. Just start doing this, just copy this and paste it. And node modules, it's going to create by itself when it says npm install, and package.json also it just creates what package log.json it creates. So yeah, this is basically your script. But why is my script longer than this is because I gave it some custom prompting saying, hey, I wanted in split this into 10 different files into a txt format. You can virtually build anything, man. I think this is the great part about AI. But again, it's not easy to build. It's just not okay. Scrapers are easy to build, like just copy them and just build them. But a full-fledged AI application that I'm currently working on, it takes like weeks to build, and that's how it is. And my developer friends were shocked looking at the progress that I'm making, right? And anybody can really code, and that's what it is. And all right, so Yeah, and if you want any consulting services, I'm also open for that. You can always connect with me for any kind of consulting services. I can help you become a proper prompt engineer, a coder, just by developing itself. So I'm also open for that. You definitely connect with me on Twitter, LinkedIn, anywhere. But yeah, this is what I've done. This is a simple way to get started as a complete non-coder and build your own full-fledged application. And I'm building my own application. I'm going to launch it on 15th of August. It's been a while since I've been working on it. There's so many bugs that I had to work on. But again, just using Claude, ChatGPT, it's super easy. I think we're nearing this time when, as Sam Altman says, solopreneurs are, the next unicorn founder, the next unicorn company will only be built by a single person. So we're going to witness a lot of single person unicorns because it'll only be one person, the CEO and founder, and all the others are going to be AI agents. I think that's how it's going to be. So, yeah.